Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan tayyiba wa amalan mutakabbala. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. So here we are with our session number 182 for Quranic Arabic grammar, in which we are going to do Sarf and Nahw of Surah Taha, inshallah. So, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. In our last session, we were learning the types of hal. And I have few verses from Quran right in front of you on your screens, and you are going to tell me what type of hal are you seeing here. Allazina yaskuruna Allah qiyaman wa qu'uda. There are two types that you have recently learned. So one was al-mu'akkida, al-hal al-mu'akkida, and the second was al-hal al-mu'assisa. So is this mu'assisa or mu'akkida? So I have two answers here. So you all agree that this is mu'assisa, the one that is there. If it is removed, a lot of information is lost, right? If you remove qiyaman wa qu'udan wa ala junubihim, you will, there is a loss of information, right? You will not know all these details in this case. The next example is from Surah Al-Anfal, and my example is Al-Malaikati Murdifin. Al-Malaikati Murdifin. The word Murdifin, is it going to be Al-Hal Al-Mu'akkida or Al-Hal Al-Mu'assisa? Malaika, they are angels, and Murdifin, who are, coming one after another, Radaf. So from Radaf, what do you think? Is this something additional? Or if I remove this Murdifin, it is the same? Let's see here. If I asked you, do you all know what Murdifin is? You don't know? Okay, let me just, turn in rows after. So is it one after another? Okay, one after another. Yani, the angels are, one after another in succession. So is it, how they are coming? Don't you think that if I remove this, I'm not missing out on some detail? Hmm? You are going to miss out in some details about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how those angels were. So if some information is lost, what kind of hal should be this one? This is going to be muassisa, right? Muassisa, because you are losing a lot of information by just losing this word, right? If I remove it, I'm going to lose out on details, right? On these fine details. The next one, فَتُلْقَى فِي جَهَنَّمَ مَلُومًا مَدْحُورًا. Blameworthy, madhura, again, despised. So what do you think? This hal, muassisa or muakkida? This is again an example of al-hal al-muassisa. Barakallahu fi. Yaslaha madhmumam madhura. Similar. And so again, it's going to be muassisa. فَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ النَّبِيِّينَ مُبَشِّرِينَ. So what do you think? Is it muassisa again or muakkida? Again, it is muassisa, right? Because you are getting more information. So what are these messengers coming with? They are coming as givers of good news or as warners, right? So again, it is muassisa. The last one, summa wallaytum, and this was also in your what is it called, in your lesson 2. So mudbirin, wallaytum, you all turn away. Mudbirin, ones who turn their backs. What kind of a hal? Sister Faiza is saying this is muakkida. Do you agree with her? Right? The similar meaning, which is just the, which is, solidifying or just re-emphasizing what has been said before. Even if I remove mudbirin, I know they turned away. right? As ones who turn away, even if I remove this, it's not removing a lot of information, right? It's kind of a same meaning. I can detect the meaning from the remaining context, right? No info is lost. I can still get the meaning from the remaining part of the words. From the context, I can still get to the meaning, right? So if that hal is there, which is mudbirin, that is going to be muakkida. Okay. So I hope this was clear to all of you. Alhamdulillah. I have a question that I have to answer, but I will first go through these verses and the lesson, and then we'll get back to the question, inshallah. Okay. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are going to start with verse number 70, and in verse number no, actually we did verse number 70. In verse number 71 is the verse, the ayah that we are going to start with. In verse number 70, we were going over the jumla felia madin as hal. In all Nahw books, you are going to see that they will write it as that if jumla felia madin come up as hal, it has qad or waqad in the beginning. If the jumla felia madin does not have a pronoun, it must have waw before qad. Is this true or false? Do you all understand this? Sometimes when the language, how language works, you cannot just put everything what goes on in the language in just with few rules. Okay, sometimes there may be cases, and there may be grammarians who may still label qalu amanna bi rabbi haruna wa musa as jumla haliya. And do you find any objection in doing that? You all sisters all agreed upon that it has a pronoun that is going back to as-sahratu, so we should be okay with labeling this very sentence as jumlatul haliya, despite it is missing its qad or waqad, right? We were okay with still labeling it as jumla haliya, but there can be more explanation about it, which we will be learning later on. Okay, so is this clear to all of you? If I ask you, if I give you a test, and which you will be getting in Nahw, and this can be a question in your test, that if jumla felia madin is coming up as hal, what are you going to expect to see in the beginning of the sentence? And your answer should be type now. What are you going to type for this? Qad or waqad. Okay, so this is how I want you to train your minds. Okay, qad or waqad. This can be a question. So anytime you're seeing qad waqad, you will think about jumlatul haliya. Okay, but not every waqad is going to be jumlatul haliya, but keep that in mind. Okay, inshallah. Okay, now let's go to verse number 71. And here, what are we seeing? What kind of a sentence we are seeing? Again, qala, because this is a dialogue, and Surah Taha has to do a lot with dialogue. Like, there's back and forth conversation between two people. So, qala, he said, amantum lahu. This is Pharaoh who is saying, and qala is fail madin, and this fail madin. If I asked you if fail madin is mabni or mu'arrab, taxing, like heavy terms, what is the answer? And I want all of you to type. I want answers from everyone. What makes you call this word qala mabni? Though we have been going over this time and again, but still I want an answer, that why is fail madin qala, and it's the whole conjugation, madi conjugation, is called mabni. What is the reason for that? No change. Where do you not find any change? There is no change, barakallahu fik, there is no change at the end of the fi'l. Throughout the fi'l, if you are going to see nasara, nasara, nasaru, any change? No. It's going, despite what comes before it, after it, the word does not change its ending. So if you are asked, what is this mabni business? What is the answer? This fail does not change its ending. That is why I'm going to call it mabni. If I ask you, give me an example of a fail that is mu'arrab, what is going to be your answer? Mainly, we learn fail madin, mudare, and fi'lul amr. So mudare is something, think about it. Okay, so I'm seeing different one different answer, so we'll come to that too. Mudare can be marfu, mansub, majzoom. So it changes its ending. Its ending changes, right? The ending of mudare changes, so it is going to be labeled as mu'arrab, right? In case of failul amr, if I have to say akhbir, any change, kul, any change, call, kulu, any change, there is no change, my dear sisters. Failul amr, also no change. So if in test you are given this simple question, is there any change, or what kind of a fail in terms of mabni and mu'arrab failul amr is, the answer should be it is mabni. You must have heard me saying mabni al sukun, or mabni al hasfil harful akhir, or sometimes I say mabni al hasful noon li'annahu min al af'al al khamsa, stuff like that, right? So not min al af'al al khamsa, just I just say that it is mabni al hasful noon, some, right? So the ending never changes. The ending of Filul Amr never changes. The ending of past tense never changes. That is why these af'al are called mabni, and you are going to label fail mudare as mu'arrab if asked in a test situation. Okay. Now, qala, we know it's never going to change its ending. It's always going to be mabni al fatha, and that it is. And now we are going to go and we'll see what is happening with the rest of the words. Amantum lahu. Amantum lahu. So what is that? Amantum, again, you are seeing another sentence, which is fail madin wal file. Now I need to know file of this amantum. File in this fail amantum is is if I asked you the name of the pronoun, ta'ul file, right? The ta'ul file is the name of the pronoun. The file in amantum is ta'ul file, right? If I asked you what is the role of meme here, what is the role of meme here? The answer should be the meme is for masculine plural. Meme is for masculine plural for lijama is zakur. So this is, and if I asked you, what is the status of meme? What is the status of this meme? Is it rafa, nasab, jar? Why you are calling it la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab? Why no status? It is a har. It is a har. Barakallahu feek. What is the status of ta dammatu? What is the status of this ta that you recognized as damir, which was damir baris? It is raf because every doer is raf in status. Is ta an attached pronoun? Yes, it is an attached pronoun, and attached pronouns based on their position, based on their type, can be raf in status as well. And I hope this was clear to all of you. From here, from amantum lahu, you are seeing makulul qawl, and the status of makulul qawl is fi mahalli nasbin, and we have done it enough many times. Lahu, what kind of a word or words lahu is? It is jar wal majroor, which is going to be muta'alliq bil fail, and it is coming with amana. Amana usually comes with which pronoun? Sorry, not pronoun, with which harf jar? It comes with be, right? It comes with be mostly, to have faith, to have believe in something. And when it comes with lam, usually the meaning changes a bit. You all surrendered to him, you all give in to him. Do you see the difference? That here the meaning is not you all believed in him, you all believed in him. No, Firaun is telling the magicians, you all surrendered to him. And this is going to be the case in other cases as well. Amana, you may see it followed by lam. So just find the subtle difference in the meaning between bihi and lahu. Okay, you must know that how the meaning is slightly different. Just like give in, give away, all of them with a different preposition after, the meaning changes, right? So same is going to be the case of amana bi and amana la. Okay. So this is going to be labeled as jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil amantum and qabla an adhana lakum. What are we seeing here? Okay. So qabla is our special mudaf. Is our special mudaf. And qabla, if it had no mudaf ilayhi, what is going to be the haraka of lam? It what haraka the lam will have if there is no mudaf ilayhi present after qabla. Barakallahu feek. In that case, Barak, I was just coming to this point, and Sister Shamim brings to us that in that case, it is going to be mabni ala dam. Mabni ala dam. Like, it is going to become, non-flexible, because now its ending is not telling us its role in the sentence. Its ending is fixed ending, despite, you see before it, min qablu. Have you ever come across min qablu in Quran? Yes, you all have seen, because as I know you all have, their sisters who have done talimul Quran, they have gone through each and every word of Quran. They have done, word to word several times, at least 20 30 times of each para, while going through the course itself. And then there are sisters who have been going over tafasir for past several years. So you have seen men qablu, but qablu is a non-flexible state of qabl when it does not have its mudaf ilayhi. So now if you have idafa here and qabla is mudaf, what is going to be the mudaf ilayhi for this very qabla? And I want answers from the sisters who are new to this business, because the rest, I'm seeing answers from Faiza and Sister Zora. So these guys know. So min qablu, yeah, in that case, mudaf ilayhi is missing. So now Sister Zora, now I'm going to focus on this one. Okay. So you have an after it. What kind of a word an is? Let's start with an and get to the answer. What kind of a word an is? How we have learned an is harf masdariya, right? Harf masdariya. Now let me focus on an and let me highlight an, so that the people who are following on YouTube, they know. So an is an masdariya. It is harf masdariya. So along with a fail, it makes al masdarul muawwal. And masdar, how do we understand a masdar? Masdar is an ism. Masdar is an ism, right? It can be a masdarul sarih, like islaman, but it can be masdarul muawwal. It can be something that that can be interpreted as a masdar. So here, an adana lakum, should I treat it as one single ism? Yes or no? How many of you agree? Since I have an masdariya, and this is an ingredient to make al masdar al muawwal, now I have my ingredient right there. So should I not call this whole chunk an adana lakum as al masdar al muawwal, right? So an harf masdariya, azana jumlatul fail ya failul mudare, wal file. Who can tell me who's the file? Ana is the file. Very well done. And what is the status of my failul mudare? It is mansoob bi an, right? It is mansoob because of an. Lakum jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil azana. Easy? Everything connected? Now, the sentence, the jumlatul failya here, because of an before it, has been converted into, or has been changed into, al masdarul muawwal, right? So this whole al masdarul muawwal, which is acting like an ism, is going to be fi mahalli jarrin, because it is mudaf ilayhi. Is everyone with me so far? Alhamdulillah. The next part is, so you all surrendered to him before I give permission to you all. Okay. So he's very upset with them. Okay. Now see what is happening after Saleh sign. So innahu, what kind of a sentence? Jumla ismi. How do we label innahu? Very simple question, but sometimes we do get, you know, confused about it. My dear sisters, harf nasb wa ismuha. Harf nasb wa ismuha. This is simple. Just call it inna as harf nasb, and who is going to be ismu inna. Okay. Why I'm not going to call this chunk as mubtada? What was the problem that I have been emphasizing and re-emphasizing that you should not call it mubtada? What is the problem with that? Can anyone point out? As it has changed, right? Inna is it is nawasiqul, among the nawasiqul mubtada, right? So if it was a mubtada, it should be like huwa, right? It should be reference status. It should be huwa. But when inna came in, it attacked the mubtada, it attached itself to mubtada, and it changed the status of mubtada to nasb. So now this changed mubtada is better termed as ismu inna. uh, don't you think it's better if we call it ismu inna rather than calling it mubtada? Do you all agree? Does it make sense to everyone? Right? You all, every time now we are going to see anything like that. Inna wa ismuha, anna wa ismuha, ka anna wa ismuha, later wa ismuha, lakinna wa ismuha, or lakinna wa ismuha. Always remember those terms. And why these are important? Because when you look in your Arab books, your apps, you're not going to find mubtada for these words. Okay? The word mubtada is not going to exist in those Arab books. They're going to label it as harf nasb wa ismuha. So I want you to be very well trained with all these Arabic terms. When you look at any book, you should be very well versed with your Arab, okay, beforehand, inshallah. Lakabirukum. How many words are there in this chunk? So when I'm asking how many words are there, I want each and every word to be understood separately. The first word, if anyone can identify, and real quick, because we already are in 25 minutes into the session, and lamut tawkid, okay, lamut tawkid, which is going to be now called lamul muzahlaqa. What is the rationale? Why am I going to call this lamul muzahlaqa? Sliding lam. Very well done. Okay. Because it is coming with inna. If lam tawkid or lamul ibtida comes and attaches itself to ismu inna or khabru inna, I give it a very fancy name, and the name is lamul muzahlaqa. Is this clear to all of you? Lamul muzahlaqa, if I ask you which category of word does it belong to, is it an ism, fail, or harf? It is a harf. When you are going to write Faiza, Shamim, how do you label it as? It is lamul muzahlaqa, harf, mabni al fatha, la mahalla laha min al i'rab. Right? La mahalla lahu min al i'rab. It has no i'rab because it is a harf. Everyone, is this clear? Alhamdulillah. Okay. Kabirukum. Kabiru is going to be, as we have mentioned, it is going to be, Kabiru is ismu inna. It's going to be a khabru inna, and it is marfu. And kum is, what is the status of kum? It is jar. So, however, kum, is it one word or two words? If I have to break them apart, I want you to break this apart too. Okay. There are two words. The first word is the name for the first word. Anyone remembers this? The first word, which is kaf, kaful khitab, kaful khitab. And if I want you guys, and if I ask you guys to, just label it, it is going to be kaful khitab, damir muttasil, attached pronoun, majroor bil idafa. Everyone, is this clear? That it is an attached pronoun, which is mudaf ilayhi, and that is why it is jar in status, right? Majroor bil idafa means it is jar in status because of idafa fragment, and it is an ism. So we, identified everything about it. Okay. In terms of, flexibility, is it flexible or non-flexible? Is it mabni, or what do you think? It is non-flexible. It is mabni ala dam, right? It's going to be always with dhamma, even when it is nasb or jar in status, right? In its nasb or jar form, the word still comes with Dhamma. When it comes to meme, it is again going to be meme li jamai zakur, and it is a harf which is la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Very well done, my dear sisters. What are the places where you can see lamul muzahlaqa after inna? Can anyone tell me? There was one more spot that one is ismu inna, other is khabru inna, right? It can be attached to either its ism or its khabar. There is one more thing that we have been going over since the past few terms in our last 2-3 terms when we took a deep dive in pronouns. You were taught a very fancy pronoun which is damirul fasl, right? It comes between ismu inna and khabru inna, and that is another position for lamul musahlaqa, right? Inna hadha lahuwal qasasul haq, right? Inna hadha lahuwal qasasul haq, right? There was an example that was given there. So if I asked you the positions or muwadeo lamul musahlaqa, the places where you are going to look for lamul musahlaqa, you should be able to identify all these. Will you see it in the negative sentence? Yes, Lafi Dalalim Mubin. Yes, that is also another place where you are seeing. And, Sister Rabiha, in that case, you will see that, this Jar wal Majroor is taking the place of Khabar. You are going to see it. But it depends, what is present before Lafi Dalalim Mubin. I need to know what is present before Lafi Dalalim Mubin. So just to be sure that, it is the lam that is coming with inna. I need to make sure that what was it before it? 1 second. Anta, innaka anta lafi dilalim mubin. That one. It's okay. Okay, yeah. If that is following that, then again, the jar wal majroor sometime. Inna hadha lafi dalalim mubin. Yeah. So in that case as well, you are fi dalalim mubin is taking the place of your khabar. So lamul muzaffaka is still So remember, when I was teaching you types of khabar, I gave you a disclaimer. Who remembers that disclaimer? That in the standard setting, you will see the types of khabar as mufridism, shubu jumla, and jumla. However, when you were taught khabar of jumla ismiya, you were taught it as mufridism, jumla ismiya, jumla feiliya. And we gave jar wal majroor name of muta'alliq bil. Some grammarians, and in many, if you, in Arab world, when this topic is taught, when the types of akhbar are taught, what are the different types of khabars in jumla ismiya, you learn it as mufridism. You learn it as the second type is shubu jumla. And what is shubu jumla? Who remembers shubu jumla? We were doing it a lot, many times since the very beginning. It's a fragment. Which two fragments? Jar wal majroor and zarf, right? Jar wal majroor and zarf are your shubu jumla, and they label their jar wal majroor or zarf as khabar. So again, so if you label it according to that, mazhab, fi the lali mubin is taking the place of what? It is your shubu jumla, which is your khabar, and lamul muzakhlaqa is rightly attached to your khabar. Just like you see in innal insana lafi khusr, right? Innal insana lafi khusr. The same thing as the example that Sister Diba has given. Inna hadha lafi dalalim mubin, or innal insana lafi khusr. In the same thing, the lam that is coming with fi, what am I going to call it? I'm going to label it as lamul musahlaqa. Is this clear to all of you? Okay. So everything clear? Yeah. So we just don't want any a lot of confusion in the beginning, and so that is why we just did it the way we did it, and I will still stick to the way we did it. Okay. I will still, fi dilali mubin, I may still call it mutalik bil khabar mahzoof, and lam is lamul musahlaqa, still lamul musahlaqa. Okay. So that was all about your lam, and lakabirukum is followed by allazi allamakum. Who can give me a rab for allazi? Okay, so it is a sifa. It is is it a sifa of who, or is it a sifa of kabirukum? Hmm? It is. It's a mausul, which is a sifa of kabir, right? Kabirukum, right? You have to make it a sifa for kabirukum, because kabirukum is followed by allazi, and it makes more sense that we don't jump from mubtada to khabar. We'll keep our not mubtada, our nasb wa ismuha in one bucket, and the second bucket comes our lakabirukum, which was a khabar, and allazi I'm going to throw it in the same bucket. But I don't, I'm going to label allazi as sifa for kabiru, and the status of allazi in that case is going to be rough. Do you all agree? Barakallahu feek. Allazi is going to be always followed by. Allazi is a special type of an ism which is called ismu mawsool. Connects what is before with what is after it. And do you see that same sila happening? Yes, there is a connection. Allamakum is my fail madin, right? Which is a sila for allazi. Allama fail madin wal fa'il damir mustatir hua. Kum is going to be labeled as. Sister Faiza Abdurrab, are you with us? What is kum? Is it going to be maful bihi? Maful bihi, barakallahu feek. Everyone, so this is going to be your maful bihi. Kum is going to be a maful bihi. As-sihra. Maful bihi number 2. Very well done. And allama is among those mafuls, those af'als that take 2 mafail. Okay, so the first one is kum, and the second one is as-sihra. Everyone so far with me? Yeah, it is maful mutaaddi lain, right? Kind of that term. I'm forgetting that, I think. Now, the next sentence is beginning, and it is beginning with, okay, so indeed he surely is your chief, the one who taught you this the magic that you are showing to the people. He is the one who taught you. So now Firaun goes on to say, okay, so this fa, Sister Faiza is calling it faul fasiha, that there may be, because the conversation went from, the focus went from, he was talking to the magician, he was talking to magician, he was telling about Musa alayhi salam, and then he just, he took another tangent, and he goes on to say, "Fala uqattiyanna," right? "Fala uqattiyanna." How many words are there? Very good job so far. Ta'lil. Okay, one. What can be ta'lil? The first jumla? This one? Jumla ta'liliya? Oh, this far. This fa, okay, you are asking, the question is, can this fa be fa at-ta'liliya? So the fa that is um, um, coming up as a fa of reason, a fa that can be translated either as because or can be translated as but. What do you think? Can we do that? Can we translate it as because I um, will definitely cut your hands and your feet? Hmm? No, right? Or can I say it, but surely I will cut your hands and your feet from the opposite sides or whatever. What do you think? Sometimes when you are confused, a very simple tricks can work. You try to bring in the meanings. If you can put in but or because, and the thing makes sense, and you can make connection between different verses, that may, the big different part of a verse or a verses, that may work. So do you think, Diva, do you still feel that it could be ta'lilia? How many of you? Yeah, but I want to hear from rest of them too. Yeah, it does not seem like, it is giving a reasoning for whatever is coming before. So, right? Okay, because he taught you all magic. You know, this is not that exactly. Um, this is not exactly what was happening. These guys, he was just, so furious. If you look at the context, these magicians were his magicians, don't you think? He brought that on an army of magicians. He summoned them to be there, right? He knew, indeed, he surely is your higher one, the one who taught you all the magic. It's, he knew what he was talking about. And um if, he's this one, his sentences are even not, you gave in to him before I gave you permission. Indeed, he is your, because he is your bigger one, who you taught you the magic. And because he taught you the magic, therefore I'm going to cut your hands. Far, there can be different possibilities, but for now I think it can be more appropriately labeled as fasiha or istinafia. Okay, so if there is still a confusion, we can always go back, and you can always send me a question. But and there may be, these fas and vows, you will see there is lot of um, difference of opinions among different people, how they take it, or how they understand of any given verse, right? Sometimes, they can, I was doing a verse with my sister, and I connected it with whatever was right before it. The one book connected it with whatever was three verses before. So it's, different people think differently, but we must have some strong reasoning behind how we label something. Okay, inshallah. Okay, so now your next word, fa, we have discussed. The next word is lam. Have you ever learned this lam? Have I ever taught you this lam? And let me see if Shamim has not already written the answer for this lam. Oh, she already did it. So, Barakallahu Feek Shamim. I'm very, very proud of you. And yes, you are absolutely, absolutely right. And I cannot read Hindi yet. So, my dear sisters. Okay, so my dear sister Shamim, I agree with you 200% actually. So, this lam is lam which was, it is lamul waqia fi jawabil qasam. And qasam, is it wahir, or what is happening here? It is hidden. It is not there, right? It is, you don't have wallahi here, but you are going to assume that there was a wallahi. And this lam is lamul waqia fi jawabil qasam. And uqattiyanna, uqattiya, uqattiya is your fail mudare. And here it has a pronoun, which is, what is a pronoun in uqattiya? Ana. It is mustatir. Barakallahu feek, Sultana. Very well done. And noon, what is the purpose of noon there? What is the name of noon? Nunu tokid as-sakila. Very well done. And this noon is, whenever you have lam attached to, directly attached to fail mudare, you will also find noon attached to failul mudare. Okay, and the sentence, the jumla failure mudare is jawabul qasam la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Aydiyakum, what is the role? Maful bihi. Wa arjulakum, it's an atf. Barakallahu fi. And why is the status of arjula mansub? Give me one answer. Letter, or you can atf, because of atf. No, Sultana, I got you this time again. Okay, I was able to trick you again. You are not going to say arjula is another maful bihi. No, guys, it is always going to be, you are always going to term it as ma'tuf ala, right? Or ma'tuf, because of wow, you are going to say that the status got transferred from the ma'tuf alayhi to ma'tuf, right? Always remember that. Don't forget. Okay, inshallah. So again, when you divide your words, kum, you do not forget the role of meme, the role of kaf, how you are going to label each and every letter in your one, what seemingly is one word. You all, alhamdulillah, so far have mastered this science of labeling each and every letter in any given word. And you are able to, alhamdulillah, find 4 or 5 words in one, what appears to be just one word, alhamdulillah. Okay, min khilafin. Let me just see the meaning here. And how can I bring this to, let me see here. I will surely cut your hands and your feet on opposite sides. Very good job. Very good job. So it is jar wal majroor min khilafin, from the opposite sides. Okay. So min khilafin is jar wal majroor, number one. So how he is this, can it be answering your how question? How he's planning on cutting their hands and feet? What do you think? How many of you agree? And we have learned in this course, alhamdulillah, that our jar wal majroor can also be hal. Okay, it can be hal. Your hal can be jar wal majroor fragment. Your hal can be a zarf. And we have already, I hope you have all, from different courses that you have previously attended, you already knew that, hal can be a mufradism, hal can be a sentence, and all that, right? So min khilafin, remember, can be muta'alliq bil hal. So, and why? If you can put that in your notes, because it is answering my how question, right? So I can call it muta'alliq bi hal maf'ul. Wala usallibannakum. The same thing is repeated here. So waw is harf atf, lam is again lamul waqia fi jawab al qasam, usallibanna mudare, which is mabni al fatha, because ba is actually, does ba have any reason to take this fatha? Who knows? Is there any reason for ba to have a fatha there? Is it mansoob in status? Is this fatha on ba and in ain for nasb status? It is not, right? You all, my dear sisters, agree? So when noon attached itself to fail mudare, that is ending with dhamma, for example, huwa fail, or hiya, or ana nahnu, those afal, what it does now, what happens is it makes mudare from mu'arrab to mabni, right? Do you, because here it is not, this pata is not telling you that this is nasmin status or usallibanna usba, this ba is not for mudare mansoob. You all know and must know that mudare in both these cases is marfu in status. Is this clear to you all? Right? This is mabni al fatah fi mahalli rafa, right? It is mudare marfu, mabni al fatah. Right? Do you all understand this? That there was no reason for this one. Oh, Afshan, you don't understand it. So you have to ask yourself, when you are looking at first word, uqattiya, why is my mudare ending with a fatha? Because your mudare actually ended on ain, right? Your spellings of mudare, or your mudare, fil mudare is ending in ain. Noon is an additional harf that is there to bring in emphasis. Is this clear so far? Do you understand, right? So if you can ask me that why is this ain with fatha when we have nunus sakila attached to fail mudare that has a dhamma ending, that dhamma ending has to go away. That dhamma ending is replaced by fatha. Okay, if you can go back to nunu tawqid as-sakila wal khafifa, you will understand how we make changes, right? Yeah, we can call it mabni, yes, because this is not the ending is now fixed because of nunu sakila. Nunu sakila, because of nunu sakila, the ending is now fixed. Okay, so I hope this is clear, right? Yeah. So now, and if I asked you, and I can trick you in a test, that what is the status of uqattiya? The fail mudari, what's the status of fail mudari in word la uqtiyanna? So what is going to be the answer? Your answer should be it is rafin status, because there is no reason for it to be nasbin status. Okay, so I'm already giving away the the test questions here. Okay. Okay, so pay attention to all this, inshallah. So now the same thing with usallibannakum fi juzu'in nahli. So here, fi juzu'in nahli is going to be your muta'alliq bil, and juzu'in nahli is also an idafa, right? La itasam followed by jar is an idafa. Okay. Okay. So wala ta'lamunna. Now there is something different happening now. Are you seeing wow, which is going to be atf? Now there's a okay, so some of you are saying this is a hal. Okay, so okay, that's that we'll find out what's going to be happening here. Okay, so wala ta'lamunna. Sister Zohra, there are very I would not call it waw al kasmiya, because what is expected, just as a simple, I'm not going to go into details of that, because there are also a very few with a different concept of this, these lams and vows. So I will just ask you one thing: what do you expect after vowel kasam? The vowel kasam you have learned in haruf jar, right? Vowel kasam we have learned in haruful, while we were learning haruf jar, and it must be followed by, if it is wow, that is vowel kasmiya, it must be followed by an ism, that is jar in status. Do we see any ism after wow? There is no ism after wow. So is it appropriate to call it then um vowel kasam, or should I just either call it atf, or we can just call it hal? Hmm? And we will find out how can we call it, atf, simple, yeah, it can be just matuf ala, whatever is before, he's still going on and he's saying, and while this will happen, this happen, yeah, all this, but an atf can be an answer to the for the vow, and it can be hal too. But let's just first look at what is happening and what is after vow, so that we know if it can be labeled as halia too. So la, again, as I mentioned, that this is lamul waqia fi jawab al qasam, and ta'lamunna. What kind of a fail mudare you are seeing after this lam? This lam. Okay. Now let me rafa. It is mabni ala dam for plural. Now about this, what you can say is, are you going to still call it mabni, do you think? Because remember the noon, ta'lamuna, when the noon went away, when your noon went away, why did we remove the original noon from mudari? Anyone remembers? Anyone remembers that tawaliul amsal, that there were too many noons? Do you remember? Yeah, tawaliul amsal, that when there are too many noons, one noon is gotten rid of. Then the vow goes away because of iltaqai sakinain, right? So this is again getting little tricky. So don't call it mabni yet. If that helps you, you just don't call it mabni yet. You can just call it it is marfu bin noonul mahzufa, that has been omitted for tawaliul amsal, because three noons cannot be together. That was simply removed for this purpose. Okay, so how you label this part is, you can say that the noon, that is noonul i'rab of afalul hamsa, gets removed to prevent many noons to be together, and the status is still rough, and we are not seeing that noon because it has been removed from there for the reason that I've been mentioning. Okay, because three same letters cannot come together, and we'll do this in more detail at a later stage. Okay, and not at a very later stage, but a little later. Okay, so now when you look at this one, What is going to be the doer here? Yes, so you can say that your talamuna um mu remained the same, and that is telling you that this is there is something, that there was a vowel jama'a that was there that has been omitted. Okay, your pronoun has been omitted, and it is not visible here now. All the time, all the time, is how many cases have you seen where the vowel jama has been mahzoof or has been hidden? I will call this vaw, though it is labeled as mahzoof, but how about calling it mustatir for now, just for this, just to make it interesting. I'm just saying that though it is just mahzoof, it is labeled, or it is called that waw is wawil jamaa, has been omitted, has been mahzoof for iltaqai sakinain. But if I just asked you that here, usually when wawil jamaa is in any field, does it ever get, do you ever not see it? Is it not among our pronouns that are baris? What do you think? You always see it, right? Like qalu, or when you say um, yansuruna, it is always coming up as seen. But this is so interesting here, that here, when the word undergoes changes, when the fail mudari undergoes the changes that it has to undergo for nunu sakila, this vowel jama'a, gets omitted. And this can also be a tricky question on the test too, that is there any time when your vowel jama'a is not visible? You cannot see it on written in the text of Quran. So this, when fail mudare has nunu sakila attached, in that case, wow gets omitted. That can be an answer to that. Okay. So again, so this jumla is going to be jawabul qasam, and your failul qasam is, there is no jumlatul qasmiya here. And ayuna, what are we seeing here? Ayuna. Ayuna, Rashda is saying that this is mubtada, and there's an ayu. First of all, how many words are there in this? There are two words. First is ayu, and the next one is na. Ayu na. So it is an idafa, and I agree. The status of na in this case is going to be jar. So what kind of a sentence? First of all, let's do what kind of a sentence. It is Jumla Ismiya. Very well done. And Diba already identified it when she called that this is Mubtada, right? A you is Mubtada. And if for any Mubtada, there is always a khabar. And your khabar in this case is Ashaddu, right? Ashaddu is going to be labeled as your khabar. And Ashaddu is khabar. And what kind of a khabar? It is a mufrad ism. And if I asked you, based on um, Sarf, according to morphology, it is going to be ism tafdeel, and this is the changes that the word has to undergo because the last two letters doubled up. Okay, and I have explained that to you in the past, how the harakas changes, how there is intiqal of vowels from one word to another. One becomes sakin and the other becomes takes its haraka. There is intiqal, like there is a knuckle of, they exchange their harakas, and the result is a shaddu, akallu, um, aladdu, and these words are the ones that you have seen in Quran. So it is ism tafdeel. Ism tafdeel, which of us is more intense? Are you getting the whole idea? Just by which of us is more intense? Is this sentence enough? You need more clarification. Okay, you need more clarification, and azaban is that clarification, and the name for azaban is tamyiz. Tamyiz, mim ya zai, has to do with, to separate things out. When things are separated, they become clear. Always remember that. So tamyiz, mim ya zai in Quran, when in Arabic, the word tamyiz is a clarifier. So, which of us is more intense? In what sense? In terms of azab. And the next thing that you are seeing here is wa abqa. So, abqa is going to be just, okay, more intense. Wa abqa, wow is going to be at, and abqa is more lasting. Okay, and it is said to be, it's another tafdeel. And then again you are seeing af'alu pattern is, there's a certain change. When we started learning Surah Taha, I taught you a rule, what happens to waw and ya when they are preceded by a letter with a fatha. Anyone remembers that rule? Change to alif, and that is what happened here. It changes to when waw and ya are preceded by fatha, waw and ya get changed into alif, and this word is again barakallahu feek is marfu bid-dammatul muqaddara alal alif. Okay, it has a implied dhamma. I'm going to not call it mabni, I'm going to call it, it is marfu bid-dammatul muqaddara. There is a dhamma that is, I'm assuming, is going to be on this baby alif. I hope this is clear so far. Everyone with me? Now, when you look at this jumla ismiya, and surely you all will know which of us is more intense in terms of punishment and more lasting. What is going to be the status of this sentence? What should be the status of this sentence? What kind of a question this sentence is answering for you? It is going to be, the jumla here is, what are you going to surely know? So all those ma and man questions, all those mata and aina questions, all those, with questions sometimes, questions of accompaniment, when they are nasb status, are the details. And here the detail is little different. It's a whole sentence, and it's going to be fi mahalli nasbin. This jumla isme is fi mahalli nasbin, mafulun bihi for fail. Ta'allamunna. Ta'allamunna. Is this clear to all of you? Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I am actually running out of time. In the next session, there was a question that was sent to me. I will definitely address that question. And I'm also going to, go over the rest of the verses. And inshallah, what am expecting from you is that, if there is a test of Nahw, how you have done exceptionally well. Most of you have done exceptionally well in their self test. I want you to perform the same way, because Nahwu is something that is tricky. It's not just simple memorization. It involves a lot more. So if you can go back over all the lessons, I think you should be able to do very well. So because we will be starting our Nahwu test as well very soon, inshallah. So with that, I will end the session. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear sisters.